You've been feeling it, even if you don't fully understand it. The restless nights, the emotional waves out of nowhere, the sudden urge to let go of things you once begged to keep. You've tried to explain it, to ground it in logic, to organize it into steps. But deep down, you know what this is. You know this isn't just another phase. Because this time, it's not coming from your thoughts. It's coming from your frequency. Something has shifted, not just in your life, not just in your heart, but in the entire energetic structure that surrounds you. This isn't emotional instability. This is vibrational reconfiguration. And if you're sensitive, if your nervous system is attuned, then you've already felt the pressure in the field, the sense that something invisible is moving fast, and it's realigning everything it touches. May 2025 isn't just a month, it's a convergence, a spiritual crossroad where time, consciousness, and soul contracts begin to collapse into choice. And that choice isn't external, it's internal. Do you rise or do you repeat? Because the energy that's arriving doesn't negotiate with your comfort. It won't ask if you're ready. It won't wait until you feel safe. It will amplify whatever you still carry. And if what you carry is fear, you'll feel fear multiplied. If what you carry is shame, you'll feel it boiling to the surface. But if what you carry is readiness, you'll feel it as a wave you were born to ride. So no, you're not losing control. You're just being exposed. All the parts of you that still operate in survival, all the patterns you thought you healed, all the stories you stopped telling, but never really stopped living, they're coming up now. Not to punish you, but to invite you to finally face them with the level of power you've cultivated in silence. You've been asking for change, for freedom, for alignment. But here's what no one tells you about massive shifts. They don't come when you feel prepared. They come when your soul is ready to destroy what your ego was still defending. And that's what May 2025 is doing. It's not giving you another goal. It's removing the illusions that made you think you needed one. It's collapsing the versions of you that were built from fear, from trauma, from pretending, and yes, it's disorienting. Because you're feeling the frequency of your future. Before your mind knows how to hold it, you're sensing a reality that hasn't materialized yet, but it's already real. It's already vibrating within you. That's why nothing feels stable. Because you're no longer aligned with what once gave you structure. You've outgrown it. And now, the shift is dissolving the pieces that no longer match who you're becoming. You might be asking, why now? Why does this feel so intense? Because the Earth's frequency is rising. Because timelines are collapsing. Because your soul is done negotiating with what doesn't serve it. And every moment you try to resist it, to slow it down, to make it comfortable, you disconnect from the very energy that came to elevate you. This is not about doing more. This is about becoming less available to what keeps lowering your field. Less available to self-doubt, to fake connections, to outdated plans, to identities you no longer resonate with, to the people who only know how to love the version of you that doesn't exist anymore. You're not just changing, you're being upgraded. And that upgrade comes with a price, a clearing, a shedding, a temporary loss of clarity so that true vision can arrive. So if your life feels chaotic right now, if your emotions feel louder, if your nervous system feels overstimulated, you're not regressing, you're responding to a frequency that's activating the parts of you that were dormant, to a vibration that doesn't support your past anymore. You're being called, not just to heal, but to hold power in a way you never had the chance to before. And that's not something you can think your way into. It's something you surrender to. It's something you feel before it makes sense. It's something you walk into before the door even opens. Because that's how energy works. It's not linear. It's intuitive. It's chaotic. It's precise. It speaks in sensations, in instincts, in internal urgency. And May 2025 is full of that urgency. Because this is your moment to align or delay. No one's coming to save you from this shift. Because this shift came to save you from yourself. From the parts of you that were still pretending not to know. From the habits you outgrew but kept repeating out of fear. From the story that said, maybe next year. When your soul has been screaming, now, you don't need to understand everything that's happening right now. You just need to know. You're not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You're not overreacting. You're responding to something real, something global, something subtle and massive at the same time. Because in May 2025, a portal isn't just opening outside of you. It's opening inside of you, and you can feel it. in your relationships, in your body, in your nervous system, in the way your old life no longer fits, but your new one hasn't landed yet. This is energetic limbo, a spiritual in-between, where the timeline you've lived for years is dissolving beneath your feet, but the new one hasn't anchored fully yet, so everything feels unstable. Because it is, and that instability isn't a punishment, it's preparation. You're being stripped of the illusions that made you feel safe, but kept you small. The old stories, the false identities, the masks you didn't even know you were still wearing. They're being exposed. Because the frequency of May 2025 isn't soft. It's not asking politely. It's pushing everything that no longer resonates to the surface. And it's doing that because you're ready, even if you don't feel ready. Even if a part of you is still clinging to the familiar. That part is loud, but it's not in control anymore. Have you noticed the patterns coming back lately? The emotional triggers you thought you healed. The fears you were sure you had outgrown. That's not regression. That's revelation. Because healing isn't linear. It's cyclical. And this shift isn't here to comfort you. It's here to reveal what was still hiding. So you can finally meet it face to face and choose differently. That's what May 2025 is about. It's not just cosmic, it's personal. It's not about waiting for energy to pass. It's about allowing the energy to change you. You're being called to stop romanticizing growth and start embodying it, to stop performing alignment and start living in integrity with what your soul already knows. Because here's the truth. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you're still available for. And if you're still energetically available for confusion, for emotional chasing, for scarcity disguised as spirituality, then the universe will keep mirroring that back to you, because you're vibrating with the past. May 2025 is the shift that breaks that loop, if you let it. But here's the paradox. The more you try to hold on, the more it will feel like things are falling apart, because you can't stabilize what's not aligned anymore. You can't find peace in a version of your life that's built on old frequency. That's why it's not working. That's why things feel foggy. That's why your body is restless. It's not just energy around you. It's energy trying to move through you. This is the month where your body becomes the antenna, where your intuition becomes louder than your logic, where silence feels safer than certainty, and where the things that used to define you stop making sense entirely. You might find yourself crying for no reason, feeling grief for a life you haven't even lived yet, longing for people who haven't arrived, feeling called to places you've never been. That's not confusion. That's frequency memory. That's your system remembering a version of you you haven't met yet, but are already becoming. You don't need to figure it out. You need to surrender to the version of you that already lives in alignment. And you do that by noticing what your current life is trying to eject. Who are you pretending to still resonate with? What are you saying yes to just to avoid discomfort? What patterns are you spiritualizing instead of releasing? What truths have you been afraid to speak because they would dismantle the life you built from fear? This shift is ruthless with lies because it's built for truth. And truth isn't always pretty, but it's always freeing. You might feel tired, heavy, detached, like nothing makes sense anymore. That's what happens when the soul steps forward and the ego loses control. You're not dying. You're detoxing from illusions, from expectations, from a life that your nervous system outgrew long before your mind caught up. Don't try to fix what's breaking when it was never meant to last. Let it fall. Let it purge. Let it collapse. Because everything falling away is making space for something real, something lasting, something yours. There's a part of you that's been waiting for this. Not logically, but energetically. That part of you that always felt the old life was too small, too structured, too hollow. Even when everything looked fine on the surface, you followed the plan. You played the part. You said the right words. But deep inside, something always whispered, "This isn't it." And now, you can't unhear that voice. Because this energy, the one sweeping through May 2025, it doesn't just shift what's around you. It shifts what you can no longer ignore. You're not breaking down. You're breaking open. Everything repressed is rising. Everything that felt safe but fake is dissolving. And it hurts, not because it's wrong, but because it's real. You don't need to have the next version of you figured out, but you do need to stop performing the one that's dying. That's what this shift is asking of you. Radical honesty, energetic integrity, spiritual maturity. No more shrinking. No more spiritualizing your own avoidance. No more calling alignment what is actually fear in disguise. This is where the versions of you built on performance begin to fall. Not because you failed, but because you finally outgrew the mask. And yes, it's confusing. Yes, it's overwhelming. But also, there's a strange clarity in the chaos. A sense that the collapse is holy, that the pressure isn't punishment, it's purification. If you've been losing interest in things you used to chase, if people are falling away, if you feel exhausted for no physical reason, it's not a crisis, it's an upgrade. And your nervous system is working overtime to integrate it all. You're not lazy, you're not broken. You're just full of data, full of energy, full of internal signals that are no longer compatible with your past. And when the frequency rises, everything you used to numb yourself stops working. You can't distract yourself with noise. You can't lie to yourself in relationships. You can't fake your way through healing anymore. Because May 2025 holds a frequency that exposes, that burns away. That pushes forward, whether you're ready or not. So don't panic. Don't try to make sense of it all. You're not here to organize the shift. You're here to surrender to it, to become porous to what's real and unavailable to what's not. That's your only job now. Be honest about what no longer fits and brave enough to release it, even before the next chapter begins. Because if you wait for clarity before you move, you'll miss the momentum this energy came to give you. And what's coming isn't a plan, it's a frequency. And the more you match it, the more it builds through you. And this isn't about rushing into the new. It's about releasing what was never yours. Not because it was evil, but because it served its cycle, and now you've outgrown the frequency that built it. That's the ache you're feeling. It's not failure, it's detachment. Your body knows you can't carry that identity into what's coming. Your soul knows it's time to upgrade the pattern, not just the plan. So if it's falling apart, let it fall. If it's no longer true, don't perform it. Because everything that's cracking is creating space for something more aligned, something more embodied, something that finally feels like you. And this shift, this May 2025 frequency, it doesn't come to inspire, it comes to initiate. You're not being motivated, you're being moved into a reality that matches your real self. Not the version you created to be accepted, but the one you were always meant to become. You don't need to know how it ends. You just need to stop clinging to the part of you that's afraid to begin. Because this energy isn't asking you to be ready. It's asking you to be real, to stop over-explaining your sensitivity, to stop apologizing for the clarity that's finally rising. The truth is, you've outgrown so much, but you keep dragging it behind you. The friendships that keep you small, the environments that numb your light, the goals that were built on an identity you no longer respect. This shift won't carry that weight for you. It will expose it, stretch it, break it open until you realize your next chapter can't begin with your past self in charge. So ask yourself, where are you still available to the version of you that's fading? Where are you still choosing from fear and calling it logic? Where are you still delaying your future by negotiating with your history? Because the shift is happening right now. Not outside of you, through you. And the more you resist it, the heavier it feels. But the moment you surrender, the moment you trust what your nervous system already knows, everything begins to open. You start to notice the signs, the alignment, the divine timing. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop performing and start remembering. This is what May 2025 came to do. Not to fix your life, but to break everything that kept you from living it. Fully, honestly, unapologetically. So breathe, ground yourself, and let this shift take you. Let it clear what no longer resonates. Let it reorder your priorities. Let it burn through everything that was built on survival, so something sacred can finally take its place. And if this message hit something inside you, if you felt seen, cracked, or called out, you're not alone. Aura Flow is a community of people who are done pretending, done hiding, done looping. We're not here to talk about awakening. We're here to embody it, together, consciously, daily. So if you're ready to stop negotiating with your old self and start anchoring the version of you that's finally aligned, subscribe, return, flow with us. Because May 2025 isn't just a shift in energy, it's your invitation to live in truth, to trust your field, and to finally become who you were always meant to be.